couple of my friends wanted to do a day trip to San Diego. I mean, it's about 3 hours away. And here in this town, you can't really find a lot of good collectibles and comics, so I found what I found, and I'm very excited. There were few things more thrilling than Buffy the Vampire Slayer when I was growing up. I mean, what better than watching a bunch of kids just trying to get out of the Hellmouth and just killing a bunch of different demons. I loved this show growing up, and just recently at the end of March, I decided to rewatch all of Buffy and all of Angel, and, you know, just kind of going through it and enjoying all of the goodness from Whedon's Buffyverse. And just recently, because I refinished it now that I'm older, catching little things, enjoying little things, I gotta say, now I'm collecting the actual graphic novels. Smile Time in the glorious Season 5 of Angel was arguably one of my favorite episodes. I mean, what's better than Puppet Angel? But I guess it's also a collection of other stories dealing with these puppets as well. So overall, I'm very excited to kind of get to read this. With that, kind of also going with the whole Season 5, I have the graphic novelization of Not Fade Away, the Season 5 finale, which was just great television when it first came out. So here I get to reread and relive it in a different format. So again, it's kind of just a different way to relive your favorite moments. Like, yeah, I can watch it and I can enjoy it, but maybe reading it, seeing the illustrations, I can appreciate it just a little bit more. Spike is just a cool character. I was reading that you have to read the complete series of Spike in order to kind of get some more information for the whole story, so pretty hyped to read this as well. As you can see, William the Bloody with the Soul, and I think that's Willow, so also hype. I'm slowly amassing Whedon's Buffyverse in graphic novel form, so, you know, little stories and then the continuation of the actual story. So anything canon is something that I have to pick up because I love that show. Both Angel and Buffy were both fantastic pieces of television, and the characters were some of the greatest characters I've ever gotten to know. So getting to relive it, and now through the comic book format, I mean, I feel like that's just something that naturally just kicks ass. I'd like to see it on the big screen again, but I'm just fine reading the stories, especially if they're canon. I picked up the collection of stories in X-Men Nation X at Book Off, and this is a book that I've been wanting to add to my X-Men collection for a while now, but I've never pulled the trigger. Here in town it costs way too much at just, you know, normal retail price, but this one was used and only cost me about 10 bucks, so this was definitely a steal. And what better way than the return of Magneto, and Scott Summers again, just being hard as fuck. Also adding to the collection is Brad Meltzer's fantastic Justice League of America, The Tornado's Path. This here is storytelling at its best. I love the Lightning Saga, and I read that one first, so going back and reading this at my local library was a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie, I never knew anything about Preacher until I started watching the television show on AMC. And I gotta say, seeing 2 stars from Misfits in this show, as well as Dominic Cooper, I'm just really excited. And so I decided, I mean, if I'm gonna start a library of collection of books, I feel I need to have at least the first volume. This one's gone to Texas, so I think it's a couple of the first issues. I think the newest re-release has more content, but it looks like this is a bloody good show with a lot of violence. So this should be something that's worth picking up. I mean, I hear nothing but critical acclaim, and we'll see where it goes, but I mean, from now on, I'm only gonna see Cassidy as Joseph Gilgan, and that's all that it's ever gonna be to me. And then I also picked up a couple of comic books, so just single issue comic books that I can't find here in town. You've heard me talk about nothing but Power Rangers these past couple of months, and so I had to get the annual, because the annual, I mean, once it's collected in the trade paperback, it's good to have again, but these are a variety of fantastic stories, so these are just really cool to have. And on top of that, I mean, the conclusion of the Lord Draken storyline, I remember reading this on viewcomic.com and just being torn up at some of these emotional scenes. Like this scene specifically, just for this part, it hits me so hard. I'm just so happy to have it. And it kind of goes full circle. You know, these are the power. I mean, look at Kimberly. Like, yeah, I know what I did. Also, Boom Studios is just knocking it out the park. This might be one of my newest favorite publishers because the WWE comics don't get enough love. You know, at first starting with the story of Seth Rollins, but now we're really digging into Dean Ambrose. My favorite wrestler, getting a lot of great moments in here, very true to the character in kayfabe, and just getting some more knowledge. I love everything about this cover. I thought it was weird that Sasha Banks is driving, but in the second volume, specifically of this story, you kind of see more of them kind of coming together and developing a really interesting relationship. I mean, I guess I can ship it, but realistically, I think Dean and Renee should stay together no matter what. But again, this is all fiction, so it's not so much of a problem. But I'm so happy that, again, the comic book medium has now bleeded into some of my other favorite things. Talking about Buffy and Angel, bleeded into it. Here, wrestling. Something that doesn't have necessarily this medium, actually getting fantastic stories in comic book form. That's fucking crazy, and I'm so excited to have these. And then speaking on Buffy again, here is kind of the Whedon three-way, I guess. Stories from Serenity, Buffy, Angel, and Faith. It was only $1 at the store, so kind of picked these up. Again, I'm collecting these stories, so I'll see where they kind of show up in the actual graphic novels when I collect them.